welcome to Creator Spotlight. We do these rarely, but every now and again I have a chance to talk to a creator. And this episode I have John Fleming, who has just started his Kickstarter for Murder Die Senpai. This is the ash can that was available from Devil Dog Comics for a little bit. John, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about yourself and what your story is for your book?
Well, I'm just a guy that likes to make comics, and I do a little bit of this on the side, and I just love doing so. I like the storytelling and the art and everything else. So the story involves a bit of a failure of a sorceress who, along with I'm tempted to say friend, but she actually rather hates this individual.
Frenemy?
Has to kind of save the world, sort of. We have three main characters. Main character, one of them is a sorceress, of course, who is a little frustrated with life. The other one is Emmy, who you often see. She is the one with the hoodie, who is an elder evil and a world-consuming monster, who is easily distracted by sweets and whatnot.
I do like that you've moved from onesies from Badassical onto hoodies.
What's that?
I like that you've moved on from onesies and Badassical onto hoodies.
Yeah, well, one of the main characters has a hoodie, and it's a very the hoodie has some history behind it, which I'm hoping to actually have embellished a little bit in a comic itself, if the Kickstarter hits a certain stretch goal.
My co-host Jennifer is in the chat, and I figured evil and immortal frenemies is up her alley.
They're very much frenemies. Yeah, they're frenemies. One of them absolutely hates the other one, but they're stuck together. They're both very morally ambiguous, and thrown into the fray is a third character who is a little more innocent and kind of gets stuck as their intern and really hates that job and really wants out. But it's really hard to say no when your boss eats people.
I also love the title of the first issue, Death and Donuts.
Yes. Thanks for that. I'm trying to combine a certain amount of humor and a little bit of grotesque horror. So I don't think there's a lot of the horror stuff going on, but people certainly die.
I also, for anybody interested, I dropped the link to the Kickstarter in the chat. It's also in the description of the episode if you want to go check it out. If you look at his project with Collette Turner, Badassical, the art for it was amazing. There was a lot of cool variants by a lot of different artists. Totally go back and check it out. I don't think those are still able to be ordered. I'm not 100%.
You know what? If anybody really wanted to, they'd possibly reach out. I think I have a few copies of a few things around, but not a huge amount. No, they're pretty hard to find. You'll find.
I think the title and everything speaking to Jen here.
Yeah, Death and Donuts, Jen. It's glad you like that. People die. There's a lot of it in this. Well, not a lot. There's enough. I think it's like well seasoned throughout.
So the art reminds me a little bit of the anime manga Death Eater, or not Death Eater, Soul Eater.
Really, I haven't read it, but that was kind of one of the inspirations was manga, anime. Not only in the way it's written, but also in some of the art. So we had some artists involved in it that were a little outside the normal comics genre.
Did you know immediately that you were going to go in the manga style, or?
Well, I wanted to do something inspired by it. Also, kind of what the name is kind of a play on that as well. A little bit because there is some association with the school environment, although not directly. And role of an elder student, because the main character kind of drops out of school so many decades ago.
I guess when you're immortal, you can kind of do that.
What's that?
I guess when you're immortal, like, you could just keep going to school, and if you're stuck at that age.
Well, yeah, she's stuck at that age, but she dropped out of school, so she's like the immortal dropout. She's like the never-ending failure who just never bothered to finish.
I'm starting to get a little vibe of I Hate Wonderland a little bit, by Scotty Young.
I know that one a lot better, and maybe there's a fair bit of cynicism.
The way Gert.
What's that?
The way Gert kind of is.
I'm trying to go with some different personalities for the main characters. One of them is very cynical and a little angry with the world and everything, but still has a soft spot for like kittens, and might maybe consume different things to different quantities, just to try and numb the pain of everything. And then you have the one of the other main characters is like the elder evil, okay, murdering and doing horrible things to horrible people and good people and all people, because what does it really matter? So, like I said, I'm playing with the moral relativism here.
I also wanted to bring up your Kickstarter just went live yesterday, and you not only hit your goal, you crushed it in an hour, which is awesome. Now you're hitting your stretch goals and working those out. I imagine the anxiety going into it was fascinating.
God. It was a little rough. Mostly really excited. Yeah, we hit our goal in 10 minutes. And we doubled it in an hour. And now I think we're close to tripling it.
That's insanely great. Because I know one of our guests we had on, Carla Nappi, who does the book Duplicant, and she did a lot from Kickstarter, and the second site's been distributing it after the fact. She said her first Kickstarter was amazing for the first issue, then the second issue not so good, so it was like diminishing returns, and then all of a sudden this last one it ramped back up again.
That's really odd. Now I think that in the past when I've done Kickstarters, thanks for just backing that, by the way. The most of the Kickstarters that I've been involved with generally did better and better than the previous one, with the exception of I think some mistakes were made with issue 2 of Badassical back in the day.
For someone starting a Kickstarter, like, is there any like advice you would give them of like pratfalls to? Yep, she was going right for where I was. Like things that you tell people to avoid doing.
Well, first of all, you want to make it as accessible as you possibly can across, different income levels. I'm kind of hit a little bit being in Canada with Canada Post, because I kind of have to expect that I'm looking at like international shipping costs, which are a pain. But we still try and have a $5 tier, $20 tier, $30, $40, $50, $60, whatever, and spread it out a bit, because if people have a little extra money and they want to support you, they will. Like they will get what they can afford. So you want to give them something they can afford. Also, be good to the people supporting you too. I see some people can get pretty egotistical about the whole thing.
I backed one years ago, and I still haven't seen a book from it. And the person's answer to it was blocking everybody who questioned them on it.
And that's rough.
7 years.
That's rough. I've had a few Kickstarters like that too, I'll be honest. And it's frustrating. And I generally find that people are a little wary of new projects by new people. And that is kind of a trick. So one thing I would suggest is, if you want to try a project, it is better to have a small success than no success. So, like, you picked up the Ash Channel through Devil Dog Comics. The guy that runs it is a friend. He was super great to help us with selling that distribution. Everybody but me made a little bit of money off of it, and that's fine. I have a few spare copies, and I love how it came out. So, but that was in a way its own little success.
I mean, it's nice to get it into people's hands, so they're talking about it, even if it had no writing in it. Really, I mean, let me show a little bit of it.
Yeah, please go right ahead. And there's also some neat little design art in there that no one's probably ever going to see ever again.
We got some character sketches.
Yeah.
I I believe Collette Turner helped you come up with some of the character designs.
She worked on them for sure. Yeah, some she had a lot more input on than others, but she certainly was a huge help. And I don't want to ever dismiss that. Yeah. I was looking at those sketches just the other day, actually.
And just for a little bit of idea of what one of our characters is like, she's gnawing on a human arm.
Don't judge.
But she's having fun doing it, and that's the important part.
Yeah, she's hungry. It's morning. It's breakfast time. It's just something you do.
So I like that there's a little bit of even cynical humor with the gore in it, which I can enjoy, where it makes it almost like an Evil Dead kind of thing, where there's something horrible happening.
Way worse.
Oh, awesome! Because that.
Yeah, no, there's the other character it's introduced, and it's just like there's a section in there which is like 5-6 pages of just pure cynicism.
I've also had the pleasure of, since I'm up weird hours since I work, and you're up all hours, I'd be like, hey, do you want to see something? Because we have a past history from working on a commission from Collette where we started to get to know each other. And for about 1.5 years, you've been sending me like, here's a little working picture. Like, I have this thing coming out.
I talk to people way more than maybe I should. I don't know. I share things. And please don't post any of that, because some of that I'm going to use now and some I'm going to save for later. But I think that there's some amazing art people have come up with, and some is, I'm really excited to share some of that stuff.
No, that's why when I made that one thumbnail I showed you, and you're like, please don't put that picture.
Yeah, no, I'm going to save that for a little bit later. For conventions, you know what? A little wary of conventions, but tentatively booked into our first one in Canada. So I will be, I hope I don't get in trouble for saying this, at Calgary in Alberta. It's the first convention that I've done in 2 years now. So
I know, like, the US, like, I think for you guys, Heroes Con would be the best if you did the US.
Heroes Con is a great show. I love Heroes. Just haven't been there for a while.
Jen, she's in Portland, so she's got Rose City and stuff like that in her area. Creative hotbed of Portland creators over there.
I've been at conventions all over the place. I mean, I think that some of my favorites are like, there's a little one in the East Coast. I love Heroes. Malta Comic Con, Vienna Comic Con has been really cool.
I've heard Fan Expo, was it Toronto? I heard was one of the bigger ones.
Fan Expo Canada is the biggest convention in Canada. It's Fan Expo Canada and then Fan Expo Calgary. They kind of, those are the big ones.
Fan Expo actually took over the Orlando Comic Con down here. MegaCon now is run by Fan Expo.
Yeah, you know what? I actually know some of the people there, and I think that there's some really great people who work for Fan Expo. So I'm kind of behind that.
I've always thought the Orlando one was good for small press creators because they give them a huge area. It's just you have to deal with, washed up stars from the 70s.
Oh, you know what? Some of those are pretty cool people, so I'm not too bothered. Although I think I once ended up at a convention hanging out with Shatner and T. Carrere. We had like hot chocolate and like, those little lint balls and talked about camping.
I turned around at a bar at one of the Orlando cons, and Dr. Smith from Lost in Space is sitting next to me. And I'm just sitting there staring at him because I'm hearing this voice that I heard as a child. I'm going, do I say something? And I just start staring at him. He's like, dear boy, you're going to ask me for an autograph. And I've been told many times, never give it away, dear boy. And I was like, thank you. Thank you very much. I'm going to go back to my scotch and just know that I was talked down to by Dr. Smith.
That's pretty amazing. That's pretty great.
There's interesting, things you can run into people there. Our friend Gambit, Jason Momoa happened to walk by his booth at one of the cons, and he saw a drawing he did of Jason Momoa as Aquaman, and he was like, here, you can have this. Please take it. We're good. And that's what he did. I had a friend who had Nicolas Cage at a Vegas convention buy a commission from him. Oh, oh no, not Deanna
That
Troy.
sounds
No.
amazing.
Was she entertaining Blasted? I need to know this. You've been holding out on me with this story. Oh,
I've had some experiences. I think once I had I've had some experiences. I'll not tell those stories.
oh no. There's convention stories I will never tell that are
Yeah, there's one in
not
particular that I
flattering.
will.
Not flattering at all. I almost got into a fist fight with a Top Cow artist.
Oh wow, that's
Yeah,
unfortunate.
he was being a dick, and then later on find out that he couldn't handle being around people, so he was getting blasted drunk before walking into them. So he had to be escorted out of the con.
I enjoy cons. I'm looking forward to getting back into conventions. I really am. I miss people, and unlike some, I am actually pretty social. So I just get more and more energetic and wound up as the con goes on, and yeah.
Are the cons actually running? Because I know like there's a huge thing with lockdown going on in Canada right now.
What's that?
I know there's a huge lockdown going on in Canada right now. Are cons even running, or does it depend on the province you're at?
Well, it kind of depends on the province you're in. Like some provinces are more locked down than others, and Alberta here is actually talking about lifting some restrictions. So we'll have to see what happens there.
Because I know there was a huge thing going on. I believe it was in Ontario where there's a huge like protests going on about the lockdown.
Yeah, well, that's not going to get into that. That's pretty political, but it's
I just see every now and again, so I wasn't sure if it was completely.
Yeah, I think it's an element of people upset, but you know what? People have a right to protest. So as long as it's
back to comics. We'll get off that whole subject. So who are some of your influences or like creators that like you get influenced by when you're writing or creating, or you get your ideas?
I actually have no idea. Like I can't actually pinpoint anybody. I just make up characters in my head and I go run off some themes. So I think of themes, so general ideas. I come up with characters. How would this character react? What's going to happen to this character? There's this Stephen King quote, and I'm totally going to misquote this, but it's something like, don't ever let a character suffer a plot or something. And I have people sometimes that come at me and they say, I have this great idea for a project. It's going to be, the plot is this. And I listen and it's like, okay, who are the characters? And sometimes they're not even certain. It's like, I don't know. Or, it's this person, but it's not very fleshed out. And it's like, we'll flesh out the characters. Tell me why I want to read your story, because I'm not reading it for the plot. I'm reading it for the people that I can relate to or be entertained by or some, that sort of thing, right? I always kind of feel that the characters have to drive the plot, not the other way around.
Yeah, and I think sometimes when I see promotions and like previews for books, I sometimes think the blurbs do a disservice to the book. Where like a 3-page preview might tell you more than what a paragraph blurb will do. Because there's been a couple of books that I've read the blurb, and then when I actually got the book in my hand, I was like, that description is not what I am getting from this book.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. But I always like to focus on theme and then character and then see what comes out after that. And, a little bit of inappropriate humor there for the flavor.
I've always been a sucker for either the unreliable narrative, like your narrator who is not reliable, or the characters that are bad trying to be good and they fail at it miserably.
I respect that. What I'm trying to do here is I have bad characters. They're just bad characters.
So they're self-serving.
That hard to be good, and I don't think they really pretend that they're trying very hard to be good. It's just that they're bad characters, but there are worse things.
And that's part of your world building, that there's worse than them.
Yes, it's like they are horrible, horrible people. But there are worse things.
And again, one of our main characters was nibbling on an arm.
Yes. She is, as explained, destined to end the world.
I love that. She's the harbinger, basically.
She is the horseman of the whole reality. She will consume everything. She just doesn't do it very quickly.
Did you have trouble finding the artist you had, or did you always have this person in mind? If you want to talk about your artist too, you give them some.
Fabrizio Constantino is, I think, the world of it. I think really highly of him and his work. We have a lot of back and forth. He's very agreeable and puts up with a lot of my garbage. And he even shares his ideas, which I try and be flexible with and listen to. I had the idea down, and I was looking for artists, and lo and behold, he was free, and we started this thing. So issue 1 is done, and he has a script for issue 2, and I should be we should be starting the layout process for that before too long.
Awesome. Do you go through doing full script, or are you kind of a little bit of Marvel method, a little bit like heavy script, or?
I am pretty heavy script. I will send the script done, and he will occasionally send back a page and say, I think this panel doesn't need to be here. And I'll be like, okay, cool. Or he'll say, maybe we can try this on this. And I'll say, okay, cool. And he'll say layouts, and I'll respond with, well, that panel looks like it needs to be redrawn because that angle's bad. But we do a lot of back and forth, so it's pretty handy.
At least you got a good dialogue with it. I had heard Greg Capullo at one point got a Brian Michael Bendis script on Spawn, and he looked at how many pages it was, folded it up, and threw it in the trash because he said it was like the size of a Bible.
Oh goodness, no! Oh goodness, no! Every page, every comic page is probably 1 to 2 pages. A few lines of establishing description and then dialogue, just so that the artist knows pretty much what's being said. I mean, plans for spacing of words.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen Dave Gibbons posted the Alan Moore pages for Watchmen. They're so meticulous, everything written, like even telling him this needs to be in this corner of the page, this needs to be here. And I was like, oh my God, I love that the fact he's got all this in his head, but as an artist, you got to be like, don't tell me what to do.
You know what? I think I used to be more like that, but I'm trying to loosen up because sometimes artists have a better idea of what's going on than I do.
I think it's healthy that you have this back and forth with him to keep bouncing ideas off of. And I guess living with an artist too helps you kind of see their perspective a little bit more.
Well, it's hard sometimes, I think. We do our best, but yeah.
I've always thought probably people who are living together trying to work on a project together, I can imagine there's some arguments with in the middle of the night going, wake up, hey, what is this?
That is purely hypothetical. I don't want to confirm or deny that.
No, I'm not. Because my co-host Jen, her partner is an artist and she's an aspiring writer, and she's just like, I imagine it'd be hell if we ever worked on something together. And I kind of started my mind wandering, going, yeah, I could see the, hey, what's this note? Get up. But don't go down that path.
I'm gonna sidestep that one down.
Yeah. So again, you started your stretch goals, working those out now. Your regular tiers are very good too, with was a sketch cover on one.
Yeah, there was a sketch cover. We had a total of 6 different covers. We had a cover by Cute Tootsie Robots, manual art, Justin George, a colored and a black and white version by Reek. Tried to get some different people. Oh, and the main cover was by Fabrizio. Tried to get some people that are a little different.
I also want to say, who did the coloring on this? Because I love the colors on what we've seen so far.
And what, the interiors?
Yes,
Oh,
just even on the cover by Fabrizio. Oh, he does the coloring too?
Yeah, he does his own colors and his inks and everything.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing.
My kudos, because a thing for me when I look at art, if it pops, and definitely the cover and what I'm using in the background, like the colors immediately pop between what she's wearing, the hair, everything just kind of pops on the page.
Yeah, well,
Which,
just, some of that would have been design stuff that, would have been hashed out back and forth, and a lot of grinding of teeth as we figured out some of that stuff. But the blue hair came on pretty fast early on.
yeah, just sometimes like that's the kind of what you need for a cover and image where it draws your attention immediately. And I think it's lost sometimes where I see stuff that it's not bland, but I think colors draw you in more than a lot of other things do. Like if you're walking by a stand, that book with the vivid color, you're gonna stop.
Yes, but I think you can also overdo it sometimes. So it's a gentle balance, and you kind of have to think about a lot of different elements. And as much as I would love to get into an elements of art conversation, that will keep us all here all night.
I imagine.
And
Also, I'm sure.
I really do enjoy art, and so that's one of my That's something I enjoy personally, and I may not be the most educated person about it, but yeah, I think color, space, negative space, flow and composition, balance, symmetry. Sometimes you get all sorts of lovely elements in there.
I've also, as I've gotten older, appreciated the ability to have, even without words, the story move through motion through the page. And it's something certain artists have that ability. It's almost on the borderline of cartoonist.
Yeah.
Certain ones do it very well.
So you probably enjoyed the ash can for that.
I did. Unfortunately, like going into this, I was like, I don't know a thing of what's going on in this story other than a little bit. So like, this is going to be a little bit tough sledding for me for this interview, but at least I had the art to look at, and yes, it does flow very well where I can look at it and you see, let me go full screen so I can show this. There is mischief on her face, but at the same time, like there's a weird kind of like innocent look, and you can follow what's going on very well. And I appreciate a good facial gesture.
I think if you're going to have a horrible monster, it's one that nobody expects is a horrible monster.
And they're having fun doing it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, if you're going to be evil.
I appreciate it. I can't wait to read the finished product.
Thank you, sir.
Will launch when it launches. And since I am here in the States, I'm sure it will take quite a while through Canada Post to get here.
It depends. Depends. Recently had a friend, just very recently, suggest that they might be able to help with a little bit of the US postage, which would mean that some books would travel less far, reducing certain risk of damage, which I'm kind of behind. I just have to decide if that's the way to go or if I'd rather do it myself, how much I want to impose upon other people.
I can see that, especially with how much you've done in the first couple, you're going to have quite a few books to send out.
Well, I think we're at like 100 and some backers, and a lot of them have a fair few books. So,
yeah, I'm going to back tomorrow when I get paid, so I'll probably be in the $40 range.
You know what? It's all good. I'll be honest though, if any Americans, you guys are. I mean, the Canada Post thing's rough, but the exchange rate is certainly handy for you guys.
Yes, it's not as good as it was at one point.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
No, I remember when I was living in Toronto for a while, and I had all this Canadian money, and I came back, and I was like, trying to exchange it back. They wouldn't even take it back. It was so little.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, like, if you're in America right now and you're spending money in Canadian dollars, you save like a nice little chunk. Like my $40 tier or my $50 tier is like 35, I think, US.
I think it It was like $1 US was $1.50 at one point. I think it's a little bit less than that, but still, like, it's a little higher.
Yeah, it's still a nice little benefit for anybody south of the border.
Yeah. For most of your people ordering, has it mostly been Canada, or do you not get those kind of numbers?
Oh, it's mostly in the States, but there are certainly some hard, some great Canadian backers too, and I've been spotting some. Yeah. So, but with that said, I'm already planning. Like, I have stretch goals suppliers that I'm already planning. So I've reached out to people about, trading cards and stickers and guitar picks and fridge magnets. I'm big into fridge magnets. Please don't judge me. Like, I really value a high quality fridge magnet, and maybe that's silly, but that's just something I live to. Like,
So you say that, and kind of I'm laughing because at a certain point I had ordered some CGC books, and this shop that I got them from dumped all of these old EC Comics fridge magnets in there, and they are all over my fridge because I was like, that's so cool. EC Comics, this is awesome. And they literally are all still on my fridge, and I will hang up reminders. Well, Jen, we have a stretch goal for you.
Yeah, I know. Let me. I'll be right back. I'm gonna
I will drop that.
Now, I'm not weird, I swear. But this is a fridge magnet we did off Kickstarter in the past by Jetty Jet, and it was really beautiful. It's a soft, like, finish. It's like unbendable metal. It's freaking solid, and I really like the company that produces those. So that's me done. That's me done. I mean, they're not cheap. They're not cheap things produced, but I'd rather give my backers some nice quality things.
I dropped the link again in the chat, and also it is down in the description if you're hitting this later and don't want to go through the chat. It's literally just Jen. But is there anything else that you want to talk about process-wise?
Not really. I think I'm really good. I'm excited. The Kickstarter's been kicking butt so far. I have a whole bunch of people messaging me right now. Some artists that I've yet to. Thanks, Jen. I appreciate that.
This is her life, though, in general.
That's fair. I mean, I write comic books as a hobby, and I like fridge magnets. That being said, Jen, anybody, most people are gonna be getting a real nice fridge magnet after this. So I mean, hey, that's life.
She does like Dune fanfic. It's just all like porny. It's the Oscar Isaac stuff now after hearing about his story from IndieWire today.
I haven't seen that, but yeah, I'm not going to get into that. So I'm going to leave that one alone. But
the article's out there if you want to look for it. Just joking, Jen. You're not doing weird porny that I know of yet. But I want to thank you for coming on and talking about the book. Hopefully this will get you a little bit more exposure on it.
Oh, you know what, Dan? It's always just fun talking regardless.
Yeah, I love talking to you because like we've communicated by like chat for a while, like for a couple of years. So getting to actually talk to you,
Dude. I'm slightly Dune. I'm the slightest bit offended by Dune. I mean, that just seems like the tiniest bit sacrilegious right there. But that's okay.
No.
That's okay.
We just finished Children of Dune. It gets real cringy and porny in it, like real cringy. We do a Dune read through show. We just finished Children of Dune. It's called the Dune Over. We're original. We did 3 seasons so far.
I'm gonna go rewatch the movie now. Any of them?
honestly, the Jodorowsky's Dune documentary is the most entertaining of all of them.
Yeah.
Because that guy is a
seen that
lunatic.
one.
Oh, he wanted to do a 14-hour version with Mick Jagger playing Duke Leto. Salvador Dali was going to be Emperor Shaddam. Pink Floyd was going to score it.
Was this really a thing?
Yes. Before David Lynch got it, he literally walked in there. Is like, I'm gonna make a 14-hour version. They're like, no, you're not. He goes, all right, 12, and they're like, get out.
That's amazing.
Jean Giraud Mobius did this entire storyboard Bible that's this thick.
Yeah.
One of them just sold for $2.6 million. There is only like 5 of them in existence.
Oh wow.
Which having Jean Giraud art is, just in general, like having a book of nothing but his art would be fantastic.
That is actually pretty cool. I might look up more of that. Salvador Dali was going to be the emperor.
Yeah, there is a documentary. It was on Amazon Prime, but if you look around, you can find it. It's for rental everywhere. Like, if you're still into physical media, I think you can pick it up on Blu-ray or DVD for like $10 American.
Right on.
But it's called Jodorowsky's Dune, and Dan O'Bannon, who was the writer of Alien, he kidnapped. He came to France to meet with him. He got him high for a month, and he couldn't figure out how to get home because he was kept high for so long. He was writing letters to his wife going, I'm still here. I don't know how to leave.
I might look this up. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for having me.
Thank you, John, and best of luck on hitting more of your stretch goals. And I will look forward to talking about this on one of my shows when I get the physical in my hand.
Great. Thanks so much, Dan. And Jen, have a great day.
All right. Appreciate it so much. Thank you. Bye, everybody.
All right, bye, guys.